Today I'm going to talk about the core.autocrlf setting within Git. You'll see here I've got a git clone command, and it's going to pull down my remote Rhinomox repository. So I'm going to go ahead and, while that's initiating, talk a little bit about the problem I ran into a couple weeks ago. I was having a problem pulling down Rhinomox from its source, and was seeing that a lot of files were changed right off the bat, and things weren't quite working correctly. So thankfully, James Gregory from Los Techies was willing to help me out. And he was explaining to me that when you do a git status and you see files that are changed, you most likely want to check your core.autocrlf settings. So that's what we're going to do today. You'll see that the clone command has just pulled everything down. So what I'm going to do is get into that Rhinomox directory that it created, and I'm going to run a git status command. And you'll see here after I run the git status, I would expect normally that nothing has changed, but you'll see a whole bunch of files that were modified. That indicates to me that there's a problem with our core.autocrlf settings. And if you're not familiar with those settings, it's basically some behind-the-scenes settings on how line endings are handled. So if I check my git config/l, and I can see in here after I'm listing my settings out that I've got core.autocrlf equals true here, and further down I have core.autocrlf equals true there. Now you'll see multiple entries in here because of the layering structure of config within Git, but right now that's basically saying that core.autocrlf is the true. So let's go ahead and change that to false. So I'm going to say git config --global, and I'm going to say core.autocrlf to false. And go ahead and set that. Let's just double check to make sure that that took, and I'll run my git config-l setting again, and you'll see the core.autocrlf equals true. However, down below you'll see core.autocrlf equals false. And what I'm going to do is back out of this Rhinomox directory. I'm going to go ahead and delete it, and we'll start over from scratch. So I'm going to start over and remove that directory, and again reissue my git clone command. So I'm going to clone that directory, and after it comes down, now that my core.autocrlf setting is changed, as files are pulled down, they should not be modified, so that by getting back into that directory and running a git status again, we see that we're on branch master and nothing to commit. The working directory is clean. That's exactly what we want. So the advice that James kind of led me to, and it's been working great for me since then, is that when cloning a new repository, the first thing you want to do after cloning is run a git status. And if you see that any files are changed, there's probably a setting that you have that differs from the repository from which you're pulling from. And so the very first thing that you want to do then is change that setting, most likely the core.autocrlf setting, and wipe everything out and reclone and see if that does fix your problem. And most likely that's the case. Then you'll see when you do a git status, after making changes, you won't see false positives. So hope that helps.